Hi guys, today we'll be talking about applicants who want to start a business in Australia and the options available for them. Today we'll be focusing on subclass 188 business innovation and investment stream. So before we get into the details of subclass 188, we should also discuss that why people should invest in Australia. So I've come up with 4 points why Australia has a safe, low-risk environment. Australia has demonstrated economic resilience, adaptability, and record steady growth over a period of time. For the 26th consecutive year, it has shown annual economic growth. Australian economy is underpinned by strong institutions and has an exceptional services sector and pharmaceutical industry. Australia has strong economic and cultural ties with the Southeast Asia region, particularly Asia Pacific, and has trade agreements with a lot of countries in that area, particularly Indonesia, China, etc. The third point being it is one of the safest places to do business. Australia's political stability, transparent regulatory system, and different frameworks provide economic resilience and is also ranked as global top 5 on the index of economic freedom. Australia's effective governance provides multinationals with safe, secure business environment. Australia supports also world-class global significant research and development opportunities. Australia's intellectual capital, commercial focus, and collaborative approach make it an ideal partner for business and investment activities. So let's talk about the basic checklist or the basic things you need to be taken care of before applying for this visa. So you should be under the age of 55 before applying. You should genuinely wish to own and maintain a major management role in a business in Australia. And to be even apply for this visa, to even be considering of this visa, you should have at least 65 points on the innovation points test. So similar to general skill migration, this visa also has points requirement and you should have at least 65 points. So the points requirement can be broken down into the following reasons. It can be either your English competency or your qualifications, or it can be your age, experience, turnover of the business, and your personal assets, amongst other factors. You should also be nominated by an Australian state or territory government agency. So similar like state sponsorship, general skill migration, this visa also has nomination by Australian state or territory government agency. So the business experience requirements are as follows. You must have had a successful business career with no involvement in unacceptable business activities. So this basically means that you shouldn't be involved in unacceptable business activities, such as like your business should not have faced insolvency or should not have been bankrupt in at least 2 of the 4 last financial years, and you must have managed a business in which you spent less than half of your time carrying out professional trade and technical services. In at least 2 of the last 4 financial years, your main business or businesses must have had an annual turnover of at least 500,000 Australian dollars. Coming to a note during the business experience requirements, of all the main business or businesses, which can be more than one, you and your de facto partner or spouse, if applicable, must have at least one of the following. You should have at least 51% of ownership where the turnover of the business was less than $400,000 per annum. Ownership of the business where the turnover is $400,000 or more than $400,000 should be at least 30%. And if it's a publicly listed company, the ownership of the business should be at least 10%. When it comes to your de facto partner or spouse and you should have a total net business and personal assets of at least 800,000 Australian dollars, which can be legally transferred to Australia within 2 years of the date that your visa is granted. So basically, your personal assets in the form of property or bank account. So basically the funds you have in your bank account, your fixed deposits, etc. Application process. Anyone who wishes to apply for this visa must be nominated by an Australian state or territory and then be invited to lodge an application for the Department of Home Affairs. In order to qualify for state or territory nomination, you must be invited first. And you can contact us in order to get more details on what requirements you need to be eligible for to apply for state nomination and to get a state nomination approval. So there are 4 stages for subclass 188. First stage being initial eligibility assessment. So for all the inquiries for subclass 188, we go through this stage 1 where we take into factor all the turnover of the business, your age, etc., as the details are previously mentioned. And then we basically give an initial eligibility assessment of the inquiry. The second stage being expression of interest, so just like general skill migration, where you give an EOI, you give an EOI in this visa as well. And the third stage being state or territory nomination, after which, after getting a positive nomination from state or territory, you apply for your final visa application file. So talking about the first stage, which is the initial eligibility assessment, the first step will actually we'll actually go through all of your points, and this involves reviewing your personal circumstances, including your experience, qualifications, English language, or net assets. So depending on which level of English or how much assets you actually have and what your qualification is and how many years of experience you have, we will provide you with the points, as well as the details of your business or businesses, including ownership and turnover, to establish whether or not you're likely to meet the relevant points requirement and the relevant requirements for the visa. We will also then provide you with an informed and comprehensive advice about your ability to meet the minimum standards, including state and territory nomination. The second step, being expression of interest. So once your eligibility for this visa has been determined, we will prepare and lodge your EOI. At this time of the visa stage, you will need to specify which Australian state or territory you wish to nominate your visa application. So depending on which state or territory you're nominating, you'll have different requirements. We will provide you with a business plan at this stage. So business plan would be different from what you were doing back home in either, let's say, in India or China. So we'll provide you with a comprehensive business plan, which you will submit to the immigration department. Although you don't need to provide supporting documents at this stage, you must be able to provide evidence that the information you actually submitted during the expression of interest in the form of English requirement or net assets is correct at the time that you are invited to apply for the visa. So what this means is that provided you are successful in obtaining a state or territory nomination, you should meet all the relevant requirements and before lodging the final visa application. The Department of Home Affairs will retain your EOI for 2 years from the date that it has been lodged. So this gives you an advantage that, let's say, if you were scoring less in English and after lodging the EOI, you gave the English exam once again and you scored more. So you can actually update your points, and also if your business has been booming and your net assets have increased, you can also update your EOI accordingly during this 2-year period. And the third stage being state and territory nomination. Once your EOI has been lodged, the government agency of the state or territory that you have chosen will review your EOI to determine whether you meet the requirement for the state nomination. We will actually supply you with the state or territory government agency which concerns with the evidence required to show that you meet the criteria, and the nature and the extent of supporting evidence required also varies on the state and territory in question. So different states and territories have different requirements for a nomination approval. If your supporting evidence is deemed acceptable, the state or territory government agency will nominate you for the visa. So the final step being the visa application lodgement. And once you have successfully obtained a state or territory nomination, the Department of Home Affairs will invite you to apply for this visa. We will also help you in preparing and lodgement of the visa application within the specified time frame, and also we'll also advise you on the documents you need to submit. This includes the evidence of financial performance of your business or businesses, English language test results, qualifications, personal statements, and all other required documents. So the next step after applying for your final file application is that you need to actually plan accordingly ahead for your permanent residency. Once you have held your provisional visa for at least 2 years, you will be eligible for applying for subclass 888 Business Innovation and Investment Visa, provided that you meet all the relevant requirements. Sorry about that. Alternatively, you can also be eligible to extend your provisional visa for further 2 years in case you don't meet the requirements for subclass 888 currently. Also, if you are an investor or a businessman looking to expand the existing business or opening up new business in Australia, you can contact us on the information provided to you on the screen. We have an office in Sydney and Darwin. And if you're in India, we have an office in Ahmedabad and Kolkata as well. Thanks a lot for your time and have a nice day.